Now we're going into the continent industry analysis. Like global analysis, continent industry analysis work the same. You look at the continent, now we're going to look at Africa. In Africa, how in terms of the consumption and the supply. Consumption is in terms of training, how many hours of training is the African continent consuming? And in terms of the supply, how many hours are supplied from Africa? Remember, like with education, you might find that Africans are spending, I don't know how many billions of hours in education, more especially business training education. But how much is that is supplied from the African continent? You know, they can be training that is supplied, and then, but normally, like your Harvard are the best business schools in the world. So they might find that even though the training is consumed in Africa, but it might be supplied by maybe Europe or the USA. Many people might be studying abroad. So now that creates an opportunity for someone to create a Harvard here. So if you do that analysis, you say the quantity of the hours that are supplied in terms of business training in Africa versus the consumption. How many people are studying business in Africa? So once you do that comparison, it will give an indication to you, to your stakeholders, to your funders, whoever that you're developing the business plan for, to show that in the continent, what is the consumption of this product and services that you supply? And who supplies it, or how much is supplied from the continent? Is it imported or is it exported? Are we supplying more than we're consuming, or we're consuming more than we're supplying? So that now is going to help you when you complete this continent industry analysis. You can see here the analysis was not done, so you just click create. If you have data, then you're going to complete data. So if you have data, you click yes. Industry segment is the one that you selected from your operations, and then the training is measured in hours. Then you choose the African continent, and then you say market supply position. Then are you top supplier, or depending on the type of market position you are in? And then in terms of the continent, is the continent in terms of the consumption, is it the top consumer or is it at the bottom? So you need to decide, is the continent that you are in, Africa, let's say, is it a top consumer, is it a second consumer, or is just a host continent? So in this case, this is our host continent, Africa is our host continent. We click in host continent, and then we put the consumption in units that you use to measure. As I said, it's in those hours. How many hours of training are consumed in Africa? You put there whatever the number could be. What is the value of the consumption? How much of that value? Let's say if it's 19,000 hours, or 19 million probably, that number should be. And then how much people are paying averagely per hour. If it's 10 rand, then it will be 19 times 10 rand. That will be the value of the consumption. And then the supply, how many business schools or whoever that's supplying business training, you put in the hours that they're providing, and then you put in the value of that. And then you confirm, or you provide the source of data. Where did you get this data from? And then you confirm that the data is true. But if you don't have the data, like we don't, then you say, no, I don't have data. I confirm that I don't have data. Then you go and create the continental consumption. Then it's going to create that transaction there. As I said, if you have clicked no, then this data will not appear in your business plan, because you are confirming that you don't have data of the continent consumption and supply. Therefore, in your business plan, the business plan will be updated accordingly, that we don't have industry data, and the continental data is not important for your business. But if it's important, in terms of whoever is going to be analyzing your business plan, make sure that you obtain this data and you update the business plan accordingly. That's that. It has been created, and if you want to understand what is continental industry analysis, then you can click here, continent industry lesson video. You can watch a video on what is continent industry analysis, or you can read about it. We've provided you with the notes there on that. And then all the forms have this data. Or if you want to watch the video in terms of how to complete this video that you're watching is actually, it can be replayed there. Or if you just want to read about it. Some people learn better when they are reading, when they're watching the video. Then that's your educational resources at the bottom there. Please make sure that you use it, you read it, so that you understand what you're completing and where the information is coming from, so that you'll be able to present your own business plan. Once you've completed that, then you go back to the dashboard. Then your continent industry analysis is completed. Your business plan is updated accordingly. Thank you.